It is February 1st, 2022. Allegedly, there's a brand new year and a month has gone by already. Lies, conspiracy, educate yourself, people. It's still 2020. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast, but we're talking about NXT 2.0 tonight. And I'm still like hungover from the Royal Rumble. Normally one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. I have so many mixed feelings about it this year. Isa, I know you were at the show and I want to get your takes. But Alfred, how are you feeling 72 hours removed from the Rumble?
I like that word hungover is a good way to put it. But usually, you kind of have to have a great time in order to be hungover. And I'm not saying that I didn't like it, but it was really inconsequential considering the Royal Rumble. I think a lot of people had pegged the direction for it. So, it was really a forgettable Royal Rumble for me, both men's and women's.
Yeah, which was crazy. And we were denied, we were robbed Cameron getting to have a segment with Melina and Alicia Fox. And for that, I will never forgive WWE.
She was in the same match as them, so that's a big deal.
But nothing. No. Stone Cold should have been there and said, Cameron, I've got a surprise for you. We're going to take a group photo with the rest of your favorite match of all time.
Oh, man.
They could have done so much with this. And it just, like, for me, just bad taste on my mouth still for that. I mean, everything else, sure, that also sucked. But that, I just cannot forgive. But Issa, you were there. You had a good time.
It was. I mean, Bad Bunny was there. How would I not have a good time? But a lot of people just felt like a spot, like a number in the match, both men's and women's Rumble, where the level of excitement just kind of happened with both matches towards like the last 10 minutes. And then when it was down to the final two, it just happened so fast. We didn't even get like a little match between, like that moment that you get between the final two. I did appreciate the Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre final two because of the throwback to, when Drew won his Rumble. But I mean, yeah, I have mixed feelings about it because I am a big fan of Ronda Rousey, Brock Lesnar, and I'm a big fan of Bad Bunny. So there was a couple of things that everybody that was around me were like, did they book this for you? And I'm like, apparently, because, I wasn't unhappy with the results on paper, but I just thought they could have put more effort into the booking of the matches themselves.
Yeah. And no NXT representation.
Yeah, very surprising.
Tell you everything that they think about NXT 2.0 right now. It is off on its own, the island of misfit toys and developmental, sequestered from the rest of the WWE universe. And with that in mind, I know this sounds strange, but tonight felt a little less special watching NXT, feeling like, okay, this is now, if it's a third brand, it's like your distant cousin that doesn't even get invited to the family reunion. That's how distant they are. And it just bummed me out, because it used to be so vital, such a big part of WWE.
Yeah, and it's been years since we see some kind of NXT representation. Even if they don't end up debuting, we do see some people from NXT make an appearance this year. I really, really felt like it was the end of an era.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it might have been best. I mean, who knows, just looking at how people with not a lot of wrestling experience fared in Royal Rumble, at least, took time off. I felt like there was a lot of ring rust in that Royal Rumble, and who knows how many of these NXT recruits were truly ready for that type of setting in terms of all that goes on, because it's really a pretty difficult match to pull off in terms of having all those guys being in coordination with each other.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's funny. Think back to the first year of NXT. Wasn't there like a tournament in the lobby of the Royal Rumble? And I think like Bo Dallas won a spot or something.
Yeah.
This would have been like 2013, maybe.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see at least one person. But I mean, I guess, it would have been a good rub. But there's also the alternate universe where nobody cares. They get thrown out immediately. And then, you probably have an even worse opinion of NXT 2.0.
That's true. Yes, but Shane O'Mac is back, which means Raw Underground.
Here we go. We're paying that off this year.
I would greatly appreciate if you say best in the world Shane O'Mac before.
Well, let's stay on that topic. That's actually the first news topic. Let's keep talking about Shane McMahon because he was in the news due to reported backstage heat. Apparently, he was involved in the process of producing Royal Rumble. Reportedly, rubbed the people the wrong way, and he was planning on it. I guess they were announcing that he was going to be at Elimination Chamber. Many expected him to be in the match, but they just filled it for Raw, and Shane McMahon is not part of that. He was not on Raw Monday night. So Are you guys happy that Shane McMahon is back? What was your initial reaction? Issa, what was it like in the building? Because it sounded like a loud pop from my vantage point, but what was it like in the building to hear Shane McMahon's music?
No, he got a great reaction from the fans. I was there for covering the event, so I was staying at the hotel, and I don't think Shane McMahon was doing a good job at trying to stay hidden. So for me, it wasn't a surprise. I saw him multiple times before Saturday. He got a good reaction from the fans, but I don't know. I can't tell you that was a default reaction, because at that point there was such a lack of surprises that by the time Shane McMahon comes out, it's just like, okay, let's hang on to the 2-3 surprises that they did give us. It comes out and eliminates Kevin Owens, who I thought had some kind of momentum going, and that is just not a feud that I would like to see revisited, for WrestleMania. So, but if you want my honest truth from the arena, he got a great reaction. He did.
Wow. Yeah, but do you think at the Royal Rumble, though, that, anyone could come out and they would just be like, yes, I know that guy?
Well, clearly not anybody, judging by some of the reactions or lack thereof that people got in this Royal Rumble. But I think when it comes to nostalgia, for sure, with wrestling fans.
Okay, we also almost died, so like there was a fire, we almost died. So you had to give us a little bit of credit for trying to, show some kind of enthusiasm from the crowd after almost dying.
Yeah.
How close were you to that?
I was very close. So I was like close behind section that they completely emptied, and then they had to bring the sign down to put the fire. So the entire Becky versus Doudrop match, all I saw was the WrestleMania sign in front of me. The entire view was blocked by the sign.
And Shane apparently booked a lot of the Royal Rumble. I'm telling you, I think he's coming back to have his Kendall Roy arc in the WWE, and he's backstage. And he's thinking, Matt Riddle, that's obvious. That's what everyone's thinking. But we need to tap into the zeitgeist. Brock Lesnar, it seems so old school and outdated that it's almost cutting edge. And I think this is what we need to do.
He's going to go after Logan, huh?
Yeah. Put the power in the hands of the fans with Brock, the Beast. Next level. Love it. Let's get the Bojack team. They'll write his promos. It'd be great.
There were rumors that it would be Shane McMahon and Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania, which Lord knows how that would have gone, but
why? Who asked for that?
Things are changing on a daily basis here at WWE, it seems.
Clearly. I think Shane McMahon is just like taking advantage of the opportunity. I feel like he's never made Vince McMahon proud. He did a lot of things to try to make his father proud, including, jumping off very high things. And now that Triple H is taking some time to better his health, Shane is like, I'm going to step in right now and I'm really going to become the son that he always wanted. He's like, first thing I'm going to do is book Brock Lesnar to win the Rumble. I think Vince would approve of that.
Issa, you need to watch Succession. You need to understand Shane just looking for his father's approval. Feels so.
He's always been looking for it. Always. Never forget the birthday tweet ever.
Very much parallel. You'd love Succession, Issa.
I'll watch it.
Let's head on to AEW. Happy Black History Month to both of you. AEW has released their mixtape, actually details in the track list for the mixtape, which is set to debut February 18th. It is called Who We Are, a Celebration of Excellence, Volume 1, which of course is produced by Mikey Ruckus. Bootsy Collins is very talented, as appearances on this mixtape. It looks like there's going to be 21 tracks on this mixtape. That is triple the amount of wins Black wrestlers had in the month of January. But we have February in Blood Street Month. Have you seen this news of these new songs and mixtapes and whatnot? We did talk about this before on this podcast, but your initial reactions, if any. Glenn, we'll start with you.
I'm going to be very optimistic about this. I think there's a lot of talent involved with it. It seems like there was some, I don't want to say concern, but I think given the context in which this was announced, some people speculated this was sort of a thrown together response to try and shift the public perception of AEW in regards to some of the very fair diversity criticism. And I have to say, looking at the talent and the thought and everything involved here, I am optimistic about this being very good.
Sure.
I mean, if you look at the release and the list that Glenn was talking about, a lot of it talks about telling the story behind some of the wrestlers in AEW. So I'm optimistic that they use this to tell the story, tell us who they are as characters, because the majority of the people whose stories we will get to hear in this mixtape, I have no idea who they are as a character. I don't know anything about them. So maybe hopefully this is what gets that started. You know, it gives them a platform to get started. Maybe they'll make cool music videos and really start a movement for them. I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm just glad that at least we'll get to learn some stories from some of the wrestlers that we know nothing about.
And this hasn't really been done before. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I think it's very important to, the idea of telling their stories is very paramount to a lot. I think is at the center of a lot of these complaints, and hopefully we get that more on television as well, because you can't rap your way to the main event. There was only 120 seconds of promo time for Black people across 8 hours of AEW programming. So more of telling stories on television is going to help them. In addition to these songs, I agree that there's a lot of talent on this album.
I'm still pulling for an all musical episode of Dynamite.
Yes. Listen, they have the talent to do it. They've got MJF, Chris Jericho. They've got Marco Stunt. Well, until his contract expires. So they can do this.
They could. No, I looking at this looks like a very serious and well thought out project, and I'm excited to listen to it.
Yeah. Shout out to AEW and Black History Month. And finally, backstage talk on issues with the Women's Royal Rumble. We really kind of talked about this already, our thoughts on the Women's Royal Rumble. Apparently, it was described as a big mess backstage. Tyson Kidd was not producing it, which turned off at least one person who was called to come back, who reportedly would not come back unless he was producing it. And apparently, there was just a lot of miscommunication there, both backstage and in the ring. And it really did come off that way. My general thoughts, I was really underwhelmed by the Women's Royal Rumble. Issa.
Yeah, I was sharing that with you guys before we went. Like, a lot of people just felt like a spot in the Rumble, and I didn't. Some of the returns, some of the legends were just used so. I don't know what the word that I'm looking for is, but actually they weren't used. That's exactly the word that I'm looking for. They just came in, did their thing, and left. I did think if I had to pick one, I did think the Women's Rumble was a little more entertaining than the Men's Rumble. I did see a little bit more stories behind it. Absolutely loved the spot with Nikki Ash and Mighty Holly. Like that and Mickie James will probably be the two things that I'm going to take away from this Rumble and say, oh my God, those two moments were awesome. I thought that it was, you're used to seeing little stories or little reunions or just something happens within the Rumble and moments that get you emotional, nostalgia, you can play off on it. None of that happened in these two Royal Rumbles. It just felt like we're going to get to the finish because we have such big names that are going to win the Rumble that we don't need to try to book it. Because I do think in paper, you walk out and say, oh my God, Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar just won the Rumbles. That's mainstream gold for WWE. But the matches themselves, for a fan favorite that we look forward to all year, the Women's Rumble just didn't feel any exciting, but I do think it was better than the men's.
Yeah, and there were some good moments. I like seeing Sarah Logan. I thought that was cool.
The mom power on this Rumble, there were so many women in there that have given birth like a year or two ago. And Sarah Logan, one of them, the winner of the Royal Rumble, is still freaking breastfeeding. So there's so much girl mom power this year in WWE, which is absolutely incredible. Like Ronda Rousey, I don't think her organs are back where they're supposed to be. And this woman is out there winning Royal Rumbles. That's pretty freaking impressive. And you got to give them props. So same with Sarah Logan. I thought she was great. The Bellas, there was a lot of new moms in there that I personally, I'm not a mom. And I felt proud of them. So
that might be a record. That's a great narrative there. That might be a record. They're talking about Guinness Book of World Records. Most new moms in a Royal Rumble. That might be look into that.
And you have Becky Lynch, another newer mom, defending her title later on in the pay-per-view. I just think that that's a very powerful message that I think it was Mick Foley who sent out a tweet about it. And I would think that WWE would kind of like not capitalize on it, but mention it, because I couldn't help but to say that every time they were coming out. I'm like, this is pretty freaking powerful and awesome for women moms. You don't have to give up your careers or your dreams because you want to have babies. So it was awesome. And Ronda did make a post about it, which I thought was pretty epic.
I just feel like Ronda winning is like if Bill Gates won the lottery tomorrow.
You want to fight?
No, I'm just saying it's like, well, did Bill Gates need that extra lottery money? Does Ronda need that golden ticket to WrestleMania?
Yeah,
She could
but
already
she's
be in the
coming
main event.
back in the Royal Rumble. It would really hurt
I-
her if she got eliminated. I think it would really take the wind out of the sails immediately.
And reaction was amazing. I actually hated that they pulled her out on Raw with Becky Lynch because I was like, you could really run with Ronda as a baby face here. She got a great reaction from the crowd. I personally think Brock, the way that he got screwed over, didn't need the Rumble win because his story is already told with Roman and Paul Heyman. So if we go, who needed the win, I will say a returning Ronda. Yeah, I know she's got the name value. But I feel like she comes back to Raw and just calls, or SmackDown, and just calls Charlotte Flair out without earning it. I think that will probably just automatically get defense against her because she's Ronda Rousey. To where winning the Rumble, at least you insert her into the storyline without her looking entitled.
I will remember that when Bill Gates buys a winning lottery ticket. I will remember. I should be happy for his experience.
This is the analogy.
I mean, if he paid for the ticket, just because he's rich doesn't mean he didn't take the same route that we take. It's like when J-Lo's mom hit the $1 million jackpot in Atlantic City.
The lottery would be canceled if Bill Gates won. That might be it for them.
Like, you want to see what's going to cause the uprising in society? Yeah. That might be what does it.
100%.
But
actually, for me, it was the uprising in society is Brock Lesnar F5 Bad Bunny right before his world tour. Like that for me will cause. I was like, please don't hurt him. I got tickets to these concerts. Come on, man.
Brock better watch it next time he wants to travel to Puerto Rico. People are going to be looking for him. No, I think as weird as I felt about the Rumble and let down, I have to say the Stone Cold Broken Skull session with Becky Lynch was incredible. It is an hour and a half. It is worth every second of your time. And Becky was very real in talking about WWE creative. And I think just really painted a very good picture of her career and what she's been up against. And I mean, that was an absolute high point of my Saturday night watching that.
Yeah. Steve Austin is a great interviewer. He's really developed into a really, really good interviewer in terms of conversational.
Yeah, he did so much research for that. It was absolutely.
I happen to think I'm a great interviewer as well. I asked AJ Styles about his hair. Do you think anybody else in that room asked about his hair? Nope.
I retweeted that. You touched it finally. How was it? What was it like?
Soft. It was so soft.
Wow, it looked soft. It looked like it was melting in your hands.
It was.
So we have some super chats before we hop into NXT. Jay Patterson, $5. Raquel Gonzalez was looking good tonight with her new do. Usually she'd be looking. Whoa. Okay. That's not cool.
Jay Patterson, messy as hell.
That's the first super chat. That's how we're gonna open super chat tonight. Come on.
Sometimes I don't read the second half.
Our returning champion, Jay Patterson. You give that man the respect. Oh my goodness.
Jay Patterson, $5. Al, you see your favorite tag team, Suspect Brothers.
Oh, he's talking about Idris and Malik tonight. We'll get to that. There was some stuff that I liked and some stuff that we'll get to it.
Tony Brown, $4.99 said, Issa, are you the same? From JD, just asked. I don't know. What's with the super chats tonight? These are all cryptic.
Tony Brown, $5.
Tony Brown, $5. Thank you for your $5.
Hojo to go Belinsky, $5. Alfred to Green Bay Packers lost 2 coaches this week, one of which is your 2021 MVP, close friend. What up? AR to Denver? ?
Maybe, who knows? But the Green Bay Packers don't rebuild, we reload. So whoever's behind center will be fine. And we're hiring from within. We're going to win the Super Bowl next year. You heard it here first.
Terry Allen Jr., $2.14. Very specific. 2K22 gameplay tomorrow. Excited? ?
Should be a fun game.
The graphics look incredible.
I was getting dinner in the other room when the commercial played. Were they using a cover of the Imagine Dragons song, or was that the actual song in the trailer?
I think it was the actual song, but now I don't remember.
It's the actual song. They always use actual songs for their trailers.
Yes. Well, it sounded different in the other room. I was unsure. That's why I asked.
You have an amazing sound system, Glenn. You always talk about it. So
I know. Okay, here's what I didn't do today. So I didn't have the speakers in the kitchen turned on. So I was in the kitchen and I was looking at the TV and I could only hear part of it. But I have to say, if you're ever renovating your house, it literally will cost about $100 a speaker extra to get that put into the ceiling. And I highly recommend it. I got a set in the kitchen and I got one in the guest bathroom. So now when I get up to watch or when I get up to go to the bathroom and the TV's on, I can still hear the TV in the bathroom, which has been a game changer. The best $100 I've ever spent.
Oh my God, I would totally like just play something that would scare the literal shit out of you while you're in the bathroom. Just
Oh, my wife got up to use the bathroom, did not know the speaker was on, and I just loaded up Fortnite. And so when the machine gun fire started, there was some shouting.
He probably felt like the knock on the door on the season finale of Yellow Jackets. That's exactly what she felt like.
Okay, let's speaking of which, our interview with Eduardo Sanchez, director of the season finale Yellow Jackets, out now on the Yellow Jackets BuzzFeed. All sorts of inside scoops on that and the Blair Witch Project. So NXT tonight. Overall, Issa, how'd you feel about NXT tonight? Were you on the edge of your seat, just engaged, intrigued, and ready to go?
Absolutely not.
Was it more like a Wendy Choo experience?
Yeah. There was definitely some desire to nap and go to sleep. Yes.
Alfred, how about you?
Same. This just felt like an episode of NXT, and they're getting a little harder and harder to watch. Yes. But this is, I think, right in the middle of what I would expect for NXT. So I didn't think this was particularly bad, but I didn't think it was particularly
good. But it was a must-watch television, and I love the comparison that you just made because I love that I get to talk about professional wrestling, and it's part of my job. But the reason why I like it is because it never felt like a job. And I keep describing NXT as it feels like work. Watching NXT episode feels like work, and I want it to go back to being fun.
Yeah. I mean, for everything I liked tonight about NXT, it would set me up and I'd be like, oh, I'm really interested in where this is going. And then something would happen and be like, oh, and I hate to say this because I really like Nikita Lyons. I think she's got an incredible look. She's been doing stuff on 205 Live, but even her promo started out great. And then she got on the mic and it was like,
yeah, those bars could use a little work.
and her music is really good. Like she's put out stuff as Faithy J that I've heard that's really good. And it's like, I was really into that promo and then just...
Yeah, this felt like, I'm sure she's very talented, but just the way that was presented felt like a parody of, it felt like the joke was on her, like in terms of what this character was like. And I don't know if that's her fault or how it was produced and how it came across.
And it's just, this was pre-taped. This wasn't in the ring. And I just feel like I need to state this. This isn't just NXT. This goes for WWE and AEW. If you are ever pre-taping a segment and it does not make your talent look really good, do a couple more takes, reshoot the damn thing. Maybe just don't air it because you're better off doing nothing rather than doing anything that presents your talent in a less than fantastic light, especially when you have all the control in the world over it. That's what I don't understand. That's what makes zero sense to me.
I mean, preach.
It's just so odd.
I agree. Especially something pre-tape. I can understand if something live doesn't come up the way that you want it to, but you had the opportunity to edit this to benefit your talent, and you didn't. My favorite part about NXT 2.0 tonight was the Manscaped ad by Duke Hudson. I thought that was great.
Yeah. Yeah, the lawnmower and everything.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me that even if this is developmental and now it's less than the main roster, I mean, this isn't just public access TV. We don't just turn on the camera and let people go and do whatever they're feeling. Like, who is in control? You have let go of so many of your actual producers that who is ultimately responsible? Because I don't think it's HBK. I think HBK is there and he's in a good position, but and this is no fault on him. He can't possibly be overseeing all this, and for whatever issues you had with Road Dogg or some of the other talents that were in charge there, at least there was someone that was accountable for it, cared about it, and had some pride in their work. And tonight did not feel like a show to me that had multiple people who were doing the best that they could behind the scenes to present their talent in the best light possible. And this is nothing against the talent that we saw showcased tonight, but it's like, this is the difference of running a real sport and producing a television show. And as a TV show tonight, this was kind of whack.
Extremely.
Yeah. Very well said. And a lot of the same problems that we see with NXT in that I like the idea that they're developing characters, but they're really ODing on that. And we still got some new characters tonight that, again, it's going to get harder and harder to get invested in them if you don't think there's going to be a finish line to the amount of people. It's getting easier to tone some of these people out, in fact.
Yeah, and the 50-50 booking is not helping anyone either.
Yeah, and there's a lot of sameness. A lot of just sort of like it's just bland. It's unfortunate. And there were some good moments tonight, but even that didn't feel like they went as far with it as they could. You can kind of tell based on the quality of what we saw tonight, who I don't want to say that they're invested in, but who they're like actively like pushing, and everyone else is just sort of there. I mean, we opened tonight with a fantastic match. Imperium.
Oh, yeah.
Gunther, Marcel Barthel, and Fabian Eichner versus the Diamond Mine. What's that? Oh, Gunther. Gunther versus Diamond Mine, Roderick Strong and Creed. And Issa, start with what did you think of this match?
This match was lit. I mean, there's no other way to explain it. It was a hot opener. They got right to it. I couldn't help but to laugh at the crowd chanting Walter and commentary saying, reminding us that his name is Gunther. But outside of that, the in-ring action was absolutely incredible. There was a couple of good matches. The in-ring was not lacking tonight on NXT, but I thought this was they were messing each other up, man. Like they were going at it hard. I absolutely enjoyed it. I will watch it. I will rewatch this match. I thought this was pay-per-vieiew quality, takeover, premium live special, whatever we're calling them now in NXT. I thought you could have put this match on their next special instead of until just tonight. It was fun, and Walter will always be Walter.
Yeah, this was I love this match. This was very, very good. They worked their asses off, in fact. But WWE is going to have a fight on its hand now with this Walter name, because 9.5 times out of 10 when these fans, I'm never going to say that name. No, he's always going to be Bryan Danielson. It's full of crap. They eventually end up conforming. This might be one of those times where Walter might prevail, because this is what we were talking about last week, in fact, in that they're taking Walter away from the crowd so that this doesn't happen. Well, I think they brought him back too soon, because these fans were insistently chanting Walter. Again, the way they chant that, the sing-songy Walter, it's very obvious. And I think they're not going to go down without a fight. So WWE needs to be prepared for a fight to where at some point, if these fans don't let up, they're going to have to just decide, listen, we'll go back to Walter, give the people what they want. But they might have one of those rare fights where they lose a fight about a wrestler's name.
Maybe we need a cinematic match that is like Superman 3 in the Junkyard with Bizarro Superman versus Clark Kent, where Gunther can kill Walter, put him inside the trunk of a car, crush it, and then Gunther prevails.
Why do I need this in my life?
Yes, please.
Superman 3, highly underrated. Richard Pryor is very funny in it.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Plot is good. The robot lady at the end terrified me as a child, still terrifies me now. And the Dark Superman arc is actually incredible. One of the best things ever in a Superman movie.
Yeah, agreed.
And we had Ronda Rousey last night calling people by their government names. Now it's cool again, so we might as well keep calling him Walter.
Yeah.
And Creed, what is up with Creed looking like they're wearing singlets made out of like sheets, like diamond sheets material with like diamond clip art all over it? If you want Diamond Mine to be cool, like we really need to work on this gear, because Creed did not look cool tonight.
Oh, you didn't like the little diamonds are all around the place, the pattern?
Fancy, man. It did not look, I mean, like, and when Imperium won, that was the right call, because and Roderick Strong, oh, how the mighty have fallen. Like Diamond Mine, if they're supposed to be this badass athletic stable, I mean, they got to go back to getting like matching tracksuits, really cool looking gear, really slick. This did not look cool tonight, what they were dressed in the ring.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a big Project Runway fan. And every season they do this challenge where they have to custom make their fabric and print it. And I was looking at their gear, wondering if that was somebody trying to be super cool and make them gear out of something custom printed that just went completely wrong, or maybe printed in the wrong material. And that's why it looks so bad, because the concept was cool. It just looked like clip art.
Yeah, I think it was too on the nose. I don't think there's too many diamonds. There is a such thing as too many diamonds.
Yes. And so by the end of the match tonight, Creed was indeed in their own prison asking, what's this life for? As Gunther got the pin and Imperium won.
I love Malcolm Bivens trolling this Gunther name. It really kind of opens the door for him to go back to Walter if this is going to be at the central point of all these promos from Malcolm Bivens. But Malcolm Bivens is very funny on social media and in real life, trolling the Walter name to Gunther.
Yes. Toxic Attraction tonight. What did you think of this through line tonight with Mandy and Gigi and JC? And Mandy, I think tonight's probably the most TV time Mandy has ever gotten on a single episode of a TV show that she didn't wrestle on.
Yeah, I'm all for through lines. This wasn't my favorite because it got into silly territory with the food fights and stuff like that. But I like this style. This is something I'm specifically complaining about for this show, is they just throw all these different things at you and you don't know what to pay attention to. But if they would take one person a week and they get the story throughout NXT, that's how you really build these characters instead of just one vignette after another. So I'm all for the through line. Now, the subject matter could improve, vastly improve, in fact, from what we saw today.
Yeah, I agree. And I know that there was more segment to this, but I love a show that has a beginning, middle, and ending, and the storyline carries throughout. And I felt like they were going there, and then it got a little bit silly to where we got to the point where she kidnaps the other two members. I'm like, we could really go somewhere with this without it getting silly, and then it did get silly at some point. You have to give Mandy Rose more TV time. I think they keep protecting her from, I don't know if it's from cutting promos or what it is, because I do think she's improved vastly, a lot from the Mandy Rose that we used to know, but her sitting by the pool cutting 5-second promos was not cutting it anymore. If she's your women's NXT champion, she needs to show up and be cutting long promos and be featured in the show, because the women's title has always been a big, huge part of NXT. So I was happy to see her get more TV time.
We got an Otis mention tonight in a promo against her.
Yeah, and an Otis.
I bet you were happy. I bet you were happy.
Goes to bed and it's like Wolverine just like stroking the photo, looking longingly at Otis.
He saved the scooter race for Gable last night.
Yeah,
I love that segment. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. I love that freaking segment.
I was entertained too. I was just a visual of Otis in that speed skating suit, and
I know.
Chad Gable
the aerodynamics.
Yeah. Chad Gable is really coming into his own. I'm really liking Alpha Academy. It's really happened kind of out of nowhere, but they've been together so long that I think their chemistry's just gotten better, and he's gotten more comfortable with it.
Yeah, but I think like this program with Riddle and the spelling bee was also so much fun, and then last night was fun. But yeah, that's not what we're talking about. But I will say I thought that was a very entertaining segment.
Yes, Raw references are lost on me. I don't remember what I was doing last night.
You're not missing much.
Oh, the Janet Jackson documentary. That's what I was doing.
Oh, I still got to watch that. I heard she had some things to say about Michael, that he was mean to her when they were kids. But come on.
Wow.
So, and people getting kidnapped. This is NXT. This is what happens. Yeah. People disappear from that parking lot. Just how it goes. So yeah, these promos are good, and we'll talk a little more what happened later. But I liked, her talking about her accomplishments. I think that Kaylee Ray, they're doing their best to build her up. But Alfred, do you think that Kaylee Ray is being seen really on the same level as Mandy, given that most of this audience probably isn't that familiar with NXT UK?
Yeah, well, they're trying, and they keep hammering home that longest reigning women's champion, which is a good accolade to have. I mean, it is a little tainted because part of that was when the world was shut down and nobody could defend it. But, that's neither here nor there. But I didn't like the presentation of Kaylee Ray on this. I felt like she came off heelish, and there really wasn't an explanation in terms of, I don't know if that's a lot of babyface merit that you're going to bully your way with a baseball bat into getting a world title shot. She came off as unhinged, and Mandy Rose was this unlikable movie character trying to run away from the slasher, and I just didn't think it fit her character as to her with this baseball bat chasing around Mandy Rose. If she's so proud of her athletic accomplishments of being this world-class competitor and the longest reigning world champion, she doesn't need to bludgeon somebody with a baseball bat to get her opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, they're dragging this out. I think they don't know who Mandy's next competitor is going to be, and I have a feeling with the way NXT is going, Mandy's going to still be women's champion going into Vengeance Day.
Yeah, I didn't like Mandy running away. I get it's part of the story, but it was just like a couple of weeks ago, you were not afraid to take a triple threat match with Cora and Raquel Gonzalez. Like, why are you afraid of this one now? All of a sudden, they haven't built Kylie Ray yet to be somebody that I would look at and say, "Oh no, I'm scared of her." So I didn't think it made sense for Mandy to be scared of her when if I'm looking at all of them and not being familiar with the accolades, I will find Raquel Gonzalez to be the more intimidating, and she got through her.
Yeah. And Cora Jade. So can Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez coexist? Well, not yet, because tonight they had to have a one-on-one match where Raquel won. But now they're going to team up in the Dusty.
Yes. Well, I'm just glad that, again, the more teams have stories and backstories, the better. So at least they're trying with these two. But there seemed to be, I don't know if it was wardrobe malfunctions or something, because the screen kept going blank, and I think there was something going on with Raquel.
Yeah, something was going on. My screen kept going like dark as well for a big majority of it. And once again, the 50-50 booking. I know I sound like a broken record every week, but it's like a couple of weeks ago, it seemed like Cora Jade was getting the biggest push in the company. And now here she is losing, which losing to Raquel should not hurt anyone, right? But how am I going to be invested when she's already losing matches after you made her seem like such a badass after War Games?
Yeah. Well, we shall see. Sarray versus Kayla Inlay tonight. And I mean, they didn't come right out and say it, but that necklace has superpowers, right? That's the transformation.
Yeah. Goes from the schoolgirl Sarray to the wrestler Sarray, just with the necklace and walking into smoke, apparently.
I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, if Sarray didn't have a run before this, I would think this was the most genius launch for a gimmick ever. If she,
and we were talking about Gunther versus Gunther, we can have schoolgirl Sarray versus Sarray. I mean, let's go. Let's get this Doppelgangers NXT pay-per-view going.
And Tony somebody to steal the necklace.
Oh, that's
yeah.
Oh my God, if that doesn't happen, like that's how she should lose her first match. Someone steals a necklace, she can't transform, or maybe it's like a Teen Wolf situation where he can't transform into the wolf, but he has to win the game as himself.
I think Tony D steals it and pawns it off at the bodega.
I think Wendy Choo steals it because she's a thief. That was proven.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that. That's a good choice, actually.
Taking your Baron Corbin gimmick. But no, I like Sarray. I thought this was a good match. This is, to me, this feels like the strength of NXT 2.0. I would rather have more characters like this and Tony D'Angelo than, oh, they're a gifted athlete and the best at what they do. It's like I can watch AEW if I want to see that. Give me characters.
I like what they're doing with Sarray. Sarray is, I mean, again, it's another new character and another reboot for her, but at least she's kind of tying it back to what happened to her in the old NXT. So it seems more like a progression than them just reintroducing her.
Yeah. I'm still on the fence about it. I want to see where they go. I want to like it, but again, they're not doing a good job at developing this brand new character. So I feel like I have a defense mechanism when it comes to NXT, and then it's like a relationship, like I don't want to let my walls down quite yet because I don't want to be disappointed.
Well, Sarray got the victory there, and then we went to Duke Hudson, who apparently used to be addicted to gambling, and now he's addicted to inflicting pain. Is that in GA? Is that part of the GA steps?
I believe so. I will say this. I thought with the material he was given, I came away impressed with this. I couldn't care less about this character when he came back because now he lost the gambling thing. He's just a guy, and I don't know why he's there. But at least he tried to create a bridge as to why did you go from poker guy to this? What is this? He answered all these questions. Now, am I interested in this character? Not quite yet, but this as a standalone promo in a vacuum, I thought was good.
Alfred's new gimmick, easily impressed.
That would be an incredible NXT gimmick if someone backstage just like popped for everything.
That was awesome, man.
This is great. This is awesome. Duke Hudson's the greatest wrestler of all time.
I mean, I called this a Manscaped ad. Like over there shaving his head. And I did like some of the words that he put in there, but I mean, all that we know from Duke Hudson is that he used to be, I don't know how you become addicted to something that you suck at. Like he was bad at poker. He lost all his money within like 2 episodes of the gimmick. So it's like you're addicted. You would think that he'll be good at it, but he's not. Then he lost his hair. So even if the even if the promo was good, it's hard to believe that the dude can do anything. We haven't been impressed with what we've seen from him.
Yeah, who knows where they go with this character? I just, I had no idea why he was in here. He had no
Barbershop.
purpose before he cut this. And then it's like, okay, well, at least he's explaining to us what he's doing here.
Well, in fairness, I mean, people that are addicted to gambling, I think is a part of the issue that they are bad at it and they keep doing it despite the fact that it's not going their way. So I don't think success and addiction necessarily always overlap.
When it comes to gambling and poker, and there's ways to cheat at it, or you could like go and do blackjack and start counting cards at least,
Well, they only call it a gambling addiction when you start losing. Like if you're addicted to gambling and you're like a millionaire, it's like, well, I wouldn't call that addicted. I would call that winning. But if you're addicted to gambling and you lose your house, that sounds like an addiction. You lose your hair over gambling. Yeah, sounds like you might have a problem. So yes, I believe he was addicted to gambling.
So by the textbook definition of addiction being continuing destructive behavior in light of consequences, being addicted to inflicting pain, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah. Well.
That's a weird addiction to pick up. Like, they say you replace an addiction with another. How do you go from gambling to inflicting pain?
Is it like a masochistic thing? Is that masochistic or sadist?
No,
Masochist.
Sadist. Well, no, is masochism.
Masochism is when you enjoy pain. Yeah, when you enjoy pain.
So he's a sadist. So is that what we're going with this character?
I don't know.
Oh my God, he's gonna come out next week wearing freaking Karrion Kross mask.
He's gonna the Karrion Kross mask.
That looked like something a sadist would.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah.
So
50 Shades of Grey and everything.
Before we manage to offend some group, let's move on and talk about the promo segment between NXT North America champion Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams with Cameron Grimes facing off in the ring. What'd you think of these promos, Issa?
Did you see that Carmelo Hayes tried to call out Bad Bunny, though? Just want to point that out there. I reported those news earlier. He tried to call out Bad Bunny. He don't want that smoke. Just telling you that right now. Carmelo Hayes, you don't want that smoke. This is fun. I actually find Carmelo and Trick Williams to be a highlight of NXT every week for me. Like, I really, really enjoy it. I love the way they talk. They just sound so different. They're fun. Their promos stick. So give them a mic, and I'm always here for it. I do have a hard time with they unified the titles, but they don't mention it. Like, they don't mention the Cruiserweight title. Like, the North American title just stayed that. They didn't even give it a new design, nothing. So what was that? It was just an excuse to get rid of the Cruiserweight title? Then we should have gone with the Gacy story. That would have been more interesting, right? Now I'm overthinking. Overall, I always love when these two guys cut a promo.
Yeah, that Gacy story will be one of the great missed opportunities.
Yes.
Is the all-inclusive open championship. That could have been a lot of fun television. And there were those reports that Vince was high on Joe Gacy, so this would be a perfect vehicle to showcase this character's strength if it would have, had those strengths with this title, which I think it would have. But I thought this was pretty fun. In fact, I like Cameron Grimes running the dozens with Carmelo and Trick. Trick was good as always. They really are doing a good job between Trick and Carmelo developing that chemistry of them playing off of another. And so I thought, just based on like a promo segment to build interest in a match, this did its job, because now I do want to see these two go one-on-one.
It's tough because I feel like NXT sometimes has so many clear fan favorites that when you have two of them against each other, I feel uncomfortable. I want situations where I clearly know who I'm rooting for. And in this one, I'm just very confused.
Yeah,
that's a good point. But I will say, in a show that we have a little bit of a hard time watching sometimes, them coming out always perks me up and makes me pay attention.
So Pete Dunne challenged Tony D'Angelo to a steel cage match.
I thought he was dead. Who didn't finish the job? Like, Tony needs to talk to his crew. I thought we got rid of him.
Yeah, they should have a match where the loser, like, in order to beat the guy, you throw him into a pile of like cement, and then they just go under, and then that's it. Get some finality here.
We'll see. Tony.
We had a funeral. There was a beautiful picture of Pete Dunne.
False advertising.
So we had LA Knight versus Joe Gacy tonight. Alfred, what'd you think of this?
It was a mediocre match, but fans seem to be taking to LA Knight, and I'm kind of interested now to see how he would fare on the main roster, because I feel like he's somebody that Vince would have interest in, at least early on, and then who knows what he does with it from there. But he's starting to come into his own. I've never been the biggest LA Knight fan, but within NXT 2.0, he's started to become one of the more popular characters. I think people, maybe they're just grasping onto any semblance of NXT 1.0, but I could tell that the crowd was reacting to him. That's really good.
Yeah, and we did have interference tonight in this.
No,
match.
go ahead. Yeah,
Grayson
I was gonna say,
Waller.
talk about someone I thought we were gonna see at the Rumble. I thought we would see LA Knight in the Rumble.
Yeah, or Grayson Waller, given that he was on Raw.
Yeah.
But Grayson Waller's bodyguard, Sango, was out there tonight. An interference caused Joe Gacy to win this match. So pretty sure we're going to get a triple threat with these guys at Vengeance Day.
Can't wait.
Triple threat. Wait a minute. Triple threat between
Gacy, LA Knight, and
Gacy,
Grayson
LA
Waller.
Knight, and Grayson
with,
Waller.
With Harland and Sanga tearing it up at ringside during the match.
You don't think they go one-on-one? Waller versus Knight?
No, because I think I could see them involving Gacy in it, because I mean, this is a weird thing to say given how much I dislike Joe Gacy's gimmick. I think it's corny and stupid. Joe Gacy, I think, is the best promo of the three as far as something that actually has meat on the bone and connects. Grayson Waller, Grayson Waller is out there feeling like he's delivering a material, and credit to him that he's delivering nothing. Same with LA Knight. Those guys, the delivery is on point, but the material is terrible. Joe Gacy at least is like quirky and bad. I don't know. I find him more entertaining. I think you need him in that feud.
Yeah,
maybe to take the pin even.
I could see it if they want to extend it. Yeah, because it's only a couple weeks away, so maybe that's what they do before they get to Waller and Knight.
Yeah, 2 weeks away.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks from tonight. So we'll see. Maybe it's one-on-one. So after that, Von Wagner with Robert Stone. Alfred, are you excited?
I am not excited. Von Wagner needs to get me excited. Until I believe that he believes, then I'll believe.
Von Wagner, excite Alfred. You may use any method of your choosing. Get Alfred excited.
We're going to need a lot more Robert Stone in this.
You know, it's sad. We were just talking about Alfred. His new gimmick is being easily impressed, and now he's saying Von Wagner doesn't impress him. I think we have a serious problem with Von Wagner.
Or maybe I have a split personality. Maybe I'm either easily impressed or it takes more than enough to impress me.
Okay, so are we talking to Alfred or are we talking to this is nasty?
This is a very nasty version of a gimmick.
I mean, he did look very tall. He did look very tall. I don't know if that.
He did look very tall.
He's got that going for him. That's good.
Yeah, he's got that going for him. But yeah, this didn't do anything for me. I can't even remember a word he said. Did he even say a word?
Does he need
did
to?
Say something.
He did say something at the end. It was, see, now I can't even remember. It was something that was like.
Yeah, I can't remember.
One of these days.
Amari Miller versus Wendy Choo, and Tiffany Stratton's credit card got involved in this match. You're so ridiculous. But Wendy Choo, Slurpees are now part of Wendy Choo's gimmick.
Yes, they're really leaning into. I think it's kind of funny how she finds different ways to fall asleep on her opponent, like how she curled up on her leg like a dog. That was kind of very funny. And Wendy Choo is really, she's got a good face in terms of being a baby face, or this kind of childlike face for this gimmick in the onesie. I think that's probably the inspiration for putting her in a onesie. So it is kind of weird and a complete comedy gimmick, but I think she can make it work.
I think this is getting over. I think this is one of the most over gimmicks.
They're chanting for her. They're chanting for Wendy, and she's a good worker, so she could pull something like this off and make it look good, make it look like her own. So.
Yeah,
she's definitely committed. She's definitely committed to the gimmick. Wrestle in the pajamas. Love the entrance music. Once again, I think Tiffany's fake rich. I don't think that's a real credit card, because if that happens to me, I pull out my phone, cancel the card, and be like, "Ha, joke's on you!" Like right then and there. You can cancel a credit card now within 2 seconds of it getting stolen. So what if it's not her credit card?
No, it's her daddy's credit card.
Kevin Nash's credit card.
It's a prepaid card. It's a prepaid card. She's embarrassed because now Wendy Choo is going to use it to go shopping and realize that there's no money in it.
It's going to get declined.
Yes.
That would be interesting. That would be a twist. So Wendy winning this match was good. She's very over with the audience. This gimmick, I mean, does this gimmick end up with a championship? Does she end up beating Mandy Rose? I could almost see it happening.
No, I mean, I couldn't see it going that far. It depends on how over it gets, which I do think it'll get over to a degree, but I don't think they're looking at this as a world championship type character. Maybe she wins one half of the tag team titles and she's always asleep at the apron, so she can't tag in. That'd be kind of fun.
That would be funny, actually.
In the old NXT, this would not be a championship gimmick. In the new NXT, this could absolutely be a championship
gimmick. Sure. Yeah, and looking at her work in terms of somebody who could wrestle, who can go 10, 15 minutes in a world title match, she could absolutely do that. She's on the short list in NXT 2.0 of people who can do that.
I mean, derivative of what Orange Cassidy especially used to do on the indies, but I could see she gets a shot of coffee or a Red Bull and then just, you know, when Wendy Choo discovers energy drinks, look out, everyone, because she's going to go on a winning streak. She'll be unstoppable. So she won that. We had Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell backstage. Indy and Persia were talking about their title shot of Vengeance Day. Brooks Jensen walked up. So it was, I wasn't sure if it was Brooks or Dunn. It was Brooks. And I wanted relationship advice for Kaden Carter, and basically said that men shouldn't talk so much. That was the advice they gave him.
No, she said men shouldn't talk at all. Not so much. She said men shouldn't talk at all.
It's all about the look.
It's all about the look.
Dexter gave her the hot tub look.
The hot tub look. Just the same way that Alfred gives girl the waiting room look.
Yes.
Dexter has the hot tub look.
Have a seat. I'll be with you in 5 minutes. It's just a look. Now,
do you have a sign-in sheet in the waiting room?
Oh yeah, of course.
You have a sheet? Come on, Alfred. Put up an iPad.
Be professional here.
You should get the numbers.
Get an iPad and make it like a digital checking list. Come on.
Okay,
you should get the numbers on the roll, like at the deli, where you have to take the number.
Everybody takes the number, like a sticker. Number 69.
No,
was this before or after the Idris and Malik promo? Because these are kind of the same idea that they're going. Like, I feel like at times NXT is being booked like a coming of age TV show, but they're grown ass men who are like asking for advice. It's like, I'm supposed to believe that these guys like at least don't know. I mean, listen, maybe it's a generation because, you know, everybody's on Hinge now. Everybody's on the dating apps where they didn't develop the social skills. So you know what? Maybe they are struggling to talk to people in real life. Maybe that's the story that we're telling here.
Yes. So you're right. Thank you. This did not get the separate section in the Wrestling Inc. recap, perhaps, that it deserved.
Oh, it did deserve it.
1000%.
So Malik Blade and Idris Enofe are backstage going over possible tag team names, and they're obsessed with Mandy Rose. And then, what would you say if Mandy was here right now? And then she appeared, stumbled into the room, and fell onto his lap. Kaylee Ray chased her with a baseball bat. Enofe wanted to go fight, but Blade said he needed a minute because he was unable to stand up. And Wade Barrett says the competition to get a date with Rose is stiffening.
Yeah, that happened.
This is up and down. And they also suggested a new tag team night, the Bold, Brave, and Courageous, which would be BBC. So I hope they run with that. They didn't get to say it on TV, so they're probably not going to say that. But
like the channel that shows Sherlock in the UK?
Sure, like that channel. Other channels too, you know, online channels too.
Do you think that's actually gonna, I mean, if that happens,
why not? If they're bold, brave, and courageous, I see no problem with it becoming BBC. If it's bold, brave, and courageous,
I mean, we have to see.
Tag name.
Obviously, we have to see what they can do. Can they live up to the name? Like, for real. If they can live up to the name, I need to see how bold, brave, and courageous they are. Otherwise, it's a fake gimmick.
So we're talking like feats of strength, like, you know, to make sure that they're not scared to jump off a cliff or something.
Exactly.
Oh, this podcast is getting a lot more challenging to do with the straight face if that ends up being the name.
Listen, we have to make this fun somehow, right?
They've got to chant that. These fans on you. I want the fans
I
chanting
will.
BBC.
I will say that sometimes I do sit here and wonder what would happen if Roman Reigns was in the room right now, and I really wish he fell in my lap the way Mandy fell on his lap.
She needs more than a minute.
Remember in the 80s on the show Growing Pains, there was a character named Boner. They got that by standards and practices. So anything's possible. Itzy with the $5 super chat. Speaking of which, with the Usos banned from Roman's match, perfect time for Solo Sikoa to debut. With the crowd have popped for any of the 2.0 talent at the Rumble. Though.
No, that would be my fear in having them there. Yeah. So it might have been best case scenario that they didn't roll them out, because having this full stadium full of people being like, "Who the hell is this?" It would really hurt them and the brand.
Solo would have been. I mean, that with the Usos being banned, I mean, that probably would not have gone well for establishing Solo as.
At the same time, I will say that because they have messed so much with people's entrance music, there was a lot of people that were familiar with that got absolutely no reaction because we are not familiar with their entrance songs anymore. There were so many people that came out that I was like, when did they change their theme music? I think Shayna Baszler was someone that if I would have recognized the music, I would have gone crazy for, but it took me a second to figure out who was coming out. They really need to work on their theme song. I think the entrance of a wrestler is such an emotional investment part that we have connection with these performers. So NXT 2.0 would have gotten the same reaction that a lot of them have because people don't know the entrance music anymore.
Yeah, and that's a great point, especially with Robert Roode, who you could argue had the best theme music in wrestling. And his new theme music with Dolph Ziggler, who also I thought had really good, really catchy theme music. Their new theme song is trash. It is just this generic,
Look at the people that got the biggest reactions are those that still have their own entrance music that people recognize. Shinsuke, AJ Styles, like Ronda Rousey, Rock. Yeah, Lita. Like there was the people that still have their old music got decent reactions. There was a lot of people in there that I watch every week, and I was like, Ricochet, I didn't even realize he got new music. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess when it comes to the entrance song. So I think NXT 2.0 would have gotten a similar reaction to a lot of the main roster stars just based on their music.
We got two vignettes back to back. We got Draco Anthony, who had a match tonight, former U.S. Marine, who made his debut tonight against Andre Chase. But then we had the vignette for Nikita Lyons, and as we said, I cannot stress this enough. Great look, great character, all the confidence in the world. She's done modeling, she's done music, she's done so much before this, and they go to have her. She's bragging, she's writing her own lyrics, and she goes to drop those bars, and
she dropped them all right. I was not impressed with her rapping. To borrow a phrase.
Put her in that mixtape for AEW, man. She's a star.
Yeah. Does she get a story? By the way, the AEW mixtape, one song per rapper. Every wrestler gets a story on that mixtape. So would she be like the one for white representation? Maybe she gets a story to even.
We need a Tony D'Angelo story rap song.
Oh, he needs to do only if he gets to be the rapper.
Just give him Enzo's old music and let Tony drop some new bars over it. I think it'll all work. It's already there. It's already done. Nikita Lyons. I've been looking forward to this debut for such a long time, and tonight I'm just so disappointed with how this video.
I felt bad too because she hyped it up on Twitter. I saw her tweet. She was like, "You might want to watch 2.0 tonight," and I was like, "For that."
She's so likable. Her other stuff is so good, and I'm just so worried.
Hopefully, she's able to roll out some of the other stuff that she has in terms of, maybe her theme music's going to be super lit, and it'll all work out. But this, again, and this is also, I'm getting numb to all these new characters, so it's just like, another new person I have to remember.
Okay, Glenn, if you had to listen to somebody's music all day, would you pick Nikita or Ollie J?
Oh, Nikita. 100
Great question. Really, that quickly?
No, I've heard some of her music is Faithy J. She is very talented. I think she's a huge get for WWE, given all of the different skills she brings to the table. But yeah, I mean, look, people are looking at those Spotify stats for Ollie J. Ollie J's Instagram famous. She's not music famous.
Not yet.
After that performance of NXT, everything could change for her.
Yeah,
it could. I'm just saying Poppy had 4 million streams a month on Spotify. I think Ollie J had 100.
So do they still consider Poppy NXT 1.0? So now she gets cut off from all this too?
Oh yeah. We'll never see her again.
Poppy. Done with the Poppy era.
Yeah. So let's talk about Sarray was in a good mood. She was back to her normal self. The powers of the necklace had worn off. But then Dakota Kai is just like the wet blanket, just throwing like gloom on everyone backstage. Just saying, I can tell that means a lot to you. Don't get too attached to it. Who's gonna steal the necklace? I think Dakota Kai, like, so do you think Dakota Kai, what's her end game, Alfred, in all this?
Maybe back to Raquel Gonzalez, because this whole thing is predicated on her splitting with Raquel Gonzalez, and now she doesn't trust anybody. But I think she's going a little bit too much in that direction. I wish she would just play a normal human, because she's really good at cutting promos, and now she's just this unhinged, like, crazed ex, which I don't, they could do better with her.
Yeah, I agree. I miss the old Dakota a little bit. I don't know what the hell they're doing with her.
I don't know. Andre Chase versus Draco Anthony.
Yeah, Chase, you.
Like, Alfred, I have to give it to you. I think Chase U has gotten legitimately over. I think the paid plants they had actually worked to turn the crowd into a participation event.
Of course, it's the greatest con in wrestling. It's one of the easiest things. You just pay a bunch of people to cheer for you, and then everybody else is going to want to do it because they see a group of people doing it, and they're kind of leading these chants. And then now it's like actually organic in terms of how people are chanting. Again, the presentation, what they're doing. This match was, it was his first match with Draco Anthony, so he's got a ways to go, and I think he could use a mouthpiece. But I really still continue to like the presentation of Andre Chase.
What did you think of the match, Issa? And Draco losing in his debut.
Yeah, that made me mad because I like the video package that they did for him, and the presentation was great. I really thought that why do that video package and get us invested, and then he just loses right away. It made me a little mad. But I can't support Chase U until I figure out what the curriculum is. What can I learn at Chase U? I think it should be cheap. Like student loans. Do you forgive student loans? Like I need to know more about Chase U as an educational establishment before I can chant that out loud.
That's a good point. It's a very corrupt world with college tuitions and all that we've seen. So maybe, if they really want to lean in on him being a heel, then he will be like a corrupt person who steals them. I think that could be a good layer to his character.
Do you remember that movie? What was it? Where the people were like, well, never mind. It actually happened in real life. Where I was going to say when people were like getting paid to get kids in colleges.
Oh, yeah. Like what Lori Loughlin did. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can get an Aunt Becky appearance on NXT 2.0. Can we make this happen?
You know what? I can see it. With the way NXT 2.0 is, I can actually see that happening.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like that SNL sketch for Winston University, where the only day you have to show up is on Parents' Day to the fake college, and they split your tuition check for you, and you get to go off and live life, and they give you a diploma at the end of 4 years.
Wasn't there also a movie about a fake college with Jonah Hill?
I think wasn't that a real college? Accepted?
Accepted. Yes.
Just along. I think it was a fake fraternity. What was the? I can't. Maybe it was a fake college. I haven't seen.
I think it was a fake college.
Interesting. Cable has been showing the movie College recently with Gary Owen and what's his face from Drake and Josh. That is perhaps the worst film I've ever seen. I watched that at 3 a.m. the other night. It was just on, and I was like, "This is awful." There was no excuse this should have been made in 2008. Like this shouldn't have even flown like in the mid 80s. Like this was just bad. I
don't know how my brain got here, but now I really want to watch The Faculty.
Oh, The Faculty's dope.
That was such a good movie. I haven't watched it in years, and now this conversation, listen, ADHD. Okay, my brain just went there. I need to find where it's streaming so I can watch it.
It all makes sense. It's been on cable lately, I've noticed when I'm flipping the channels. Main event tonight, Legado del Fantasma versus Braun Breaker and Tommaso Ciampa. And can they go coexist? They were doing coordinated dance moves together. These guys are getting along great. Alfred, what did you think of the match?
It was a good match. It went too long, I felt that Santos Escobar was almost impossible to take seriously because his job was to just react to things, and he had like one reaction, everything, where he was like he had his mouth open, and I felt like that part was weird, but it was a fun table spot that they did with Raul Mendoza, I believe it was, and it was fun seeing Tommaso Ciampa and Braun Breaker have good chemistry. Are they in the Dusty Cup? Because I think that'd be a fun story to tell if you had them in the Dusty Cup together, but. They were fine as a tag team. I just felt like this match went way too long.
Yeah, I almost wish they would have swapped and closed with the opener. You know, like I wish the opening match was the main event. But yeah, I mean, Tommaso Ciampa wins the title, drops it, and pairs with somebody random in a tag team. Seems to be his gimmick and repeat, you know. But I was shocked to see how good of a chemistry they have. And Santos Escobar and the Gauler Fantasma, the mighty has fallen. I can't take them seriously as winners or anything, and it's probably because they just lost so many matches that at this point I don't see them as credible contenders for anyone.
Yeah, kind of crazy. Good match though. Braun and Ciampa definitely makes sense, but yeah, Elektra Lopez like not even doing anything.
Yeah,
very weird. And then you think the show is over. But no, Kaylee Ray continues the chase of Mandy Rose and says, if we get Vengeance Day next week, I want my title shot.
Where did the other members of Toxic Attraction go? She kidnapped them.
Yeah, they never explained that.
TGI Fridays, Applebee's, I don't know.
They're at Applebee's. They're waiting on Alfred. So
oh, yeah, absolutely. I would know if it was Applebee's, let me tell you.
But backstage before that, we forgot that Mandy Rose, Kaylee Ray threw food on her, like birthday cake and spaghetti.
I hated it.
Do we think that was, what's his name? The jacket guy that eats all the junk food and then ends up in the toilet? That was probably his food.
Come on, Giro.
Yeah.
Mandy Rose is covered in like foodborne bacteria.
Yeah, because he eats. Remember, he was eating like all that junk food at that horrible video package. So I bet you that was his food. Yeah. Guarantee you that.
That's a complete long-term booking. So I like it.
Oh my god, this was just such a weird freaking episode tonight.
Yeah, there were a couple things that I did enjoy, but it's just the continuation of all the things that are wrong with NXT 2.0. They just give you too many new characters being introduced, and but it was an improvement in terms of how they did the through line, so that's good. It's just then they did the cartoon stuff with it.
I miss Tony D'Angelo. I miss him dearly.
Always miss the GOAT.
Yes.
Yeah, no Tony D. It's hard for the show to get above a D without Tony D.
I agree.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
So there you have it. We made it to the end.
We survived.
Get a t-shirt. I survived NXT. February 1st, 2022.
Do you guys think that they're going to build because of how these coming of age stories are telling that February 15th is going to be like a dance and they're going to have to ask these girls to dances because they don't know how to talk to women?
And then Joe Gacy is out there talking about how that's a very heteronormative way of thinking.
Yeah, you can ask anybody to dance.
No.
I'm telling you, NXT, I could write this character in a way that would be funny and also get you legitimately boycotted.
Yeah.
You're not
when they try though, when they do these weird segments and they try, I keep going back to the wedding. That was such a fun.
The wedding was so. Well, that's just what I thought of when you talked about the dance. Was like the wedding was incredible. I think that's like the most viewed NXT clip ever on YouTube. Still.
Yeah.
Why aren't we doing more stuff like that? I would love to have an NXT like prom episode. That would be fantastic.
It would be perfect for the Valentine's Day. If this is a story, and again, it's ridiculous because they're all grown men and women. But if that's how they're going to be treating them, then why not have a dance on Valentine's Day? You know, you have somewhere to ask them to
fight for a prom queen, like all these girls fighting each other because they want to be prom queen.
And Mandy Rose is going to set up like Cora Jade as the champion. They're going to drop pig's blood on her, like, and then Cora Jade's going to flip out and kill everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
90s
this
music.
could be really good. This could be really good.
God, Carrie, what a classic! I'm gonna be watching horror movies all night tonight. Thanks, Glenn.
I'll tell you, since we did the interview with Ed Sanchez the other day, like I've been reading up so much on the Blair Witch Project and watching stuff, and it's freaking me out. And I'm having trouble sleeping. Like I'm waking up in the middle of the night, like thinking about the Blair Witch Project, and I've like freaked myself. I did this all to myself, you know.
So you're having trouble sleeping. It has nothing to do with the terror of the Blair Witch Project. Just you thinking of the movie.
No, I'm waking up and I'm thinking of like scary things. Do you ever do this to yourself? Like, I'm not scared, but I think, wouldn't it be scary if, like, man, wouldn't it be scary if I woke up and like Josh at the end of the Blair Witch was standing in my bedroom corner and I saw that and I was like, oh my God, what the hell? You know, or like when I walk past an open closet in the dark, wouldn't it be scary if someone like popped out of the closet and attacked me? I think this shit in the middle of the night when I get up to pee.
That happens to me with THC, definitely.
We
I
discussed.
do that, but it doesn't scare me. I'm always ready for a fight. I wish one of these layers would show up here. Ghostface, Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy. I don't care. Come at me. I want the smoke. I want all of it. All of it.
You're going to be one of the people that gets kicked out of the immersive haunted house experience because you're going to beat the shit out of a performer.
I know somebody who did that.
Who just went buck wild on like
they just instinctively they swung on him, knocked him clean out.
The best thing, and why don't they do this with haunts? I don't know why anyone has never done this. Maybe our audience knows about this. You hear about these immersive haunted houses, right? That you pay all this money to go into.
There's some wild ones out there, though, where they literally try to kill you.
Here's my idea that would take this to the next level. Instead of hiring all your actors to be scare performers, why don't you hire some random people in regular clothes, send them in with the group, and then legitimately have them get murdered by the actors? And you think, holy shit, this guy we were making small talk with before legit just got murdered by somebody in this haunted house. That would really terrify people.
It might be the wrong kind of heat, though.
That's what they do. What is it called? The McKenna Grace or something like that? Like, where that guy, I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but he like, you pay a lot of money, you have to get in like a waiting list, and they literally try to kill you. Like,
I saw the documentary.
Nobody's ever survived it. Yeah. But if you go on YouTube, you can see the actual hunt and like people's experiences, and it's messed up.
Yeah, and we're doing what everyone should be doing, talking about Halloween in February. You know, why aren't we talking about it?
It's Halloween for me all year long.
Justin Smith, $5. Happy NXT day to my fellow citizen detectives. So excited for Mandy versus KLR. Great show tonight. Well, Justin, your positivity. That's a great positive note to
Thank you, Justin.
It really is.
Want to talk about scary? I watched Pixels on cable the other night again. How did that get made?
Pixels with Adam Sandler?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oof.
Great concept, terrible execution.
Mm-hmm.
Sandler's special, though, his comedy special on Netflix is very good.
Is it?
Excellent. I think it was the best special that year it came out.
Very interesting. I'll have to give it a watch.
Yeah, you know, Edward just brought that up in the chat, and I was gonna mention it earlier. Like, I thought you can't talk to people until their contracts are over. Didn't Brian Kendrick just get out of his today? Like, did they just call him right away?
Yeah, the tampering in wrestling is the worst kept secret. There is so much tampering in wrestling. Like, if this MLW lawsuit actually proceeds, we're gonna learn there's a lot of tampering in wrestling.
I think AEW tweeted that he's fighting Max tomorrow before the news of his contract being done even like got over.
Yeah, wow. They work quickly.
Yeah. Brian Kendrick looks at Tupac getting.
You're gonna get a spot on Dynamite, and then you're gonna end up on Dark or Elevation for the next year of your life.
Oh yeah.
Brian Kendrick looks at Tupac getting out of jail and releasing California Love like 3 weeks later and says, "Dude, what took you so long?" I mean, this is fast. This is very fast turnaround. So yeah, that'll be exciting to see.
Yeah.
So everybody, thanks for hanging with us tonight. No kind of a weird show, kind of weird energy. We're going to be back on Friday to talk about SmackDown and Rampage.
Hopefully Paul Heyman doesn't die on Friday.
We shall see what happens. Until then, she's at NYC Demon Diva. That's Diva with a 1. He's at This Is Nasty. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein. We'll get you back here next time on the Wrestling Inc. podcast.